it going? We're gonna go through another episode of Breaking It Down. So first up today, we have a post on Reddit looking for a company that will manufacture my apparel idea and ship as orders come in. Like to sell the products on Amazon, really gonna be a hit or miss idea with the idea, so I don't wanna get stuck with a bunch of stock if it's a miss, so I'm wondering if anyone knows a company that will do all the work for me, basically. Reluctant to purchase 100 and be out of money if it doesn't go. All right, so really what he's asking is about drop shipping. And when it comes to apparel, depending on the idea, right, it's either customized or print on demand. If it's print on demand, there's a ton of companies that can do that. There's websites all over. Just Google POD. You can find somebody to print whatever you want and ship out as orders come in. That business is pretty stale though, right? A lot of people are doing that. I think it's pretty crowded. So then you go to custom, right? What's the idea? You don't really talk about it. There's a lot of different things that could make you have a great apparel idea. There's a lot of things that could make it kind of boring. But the first comment below, it depends on the product, but in general, I'm gonna say no, especially cheap product. Manufacturer company don't have time to waste unless it's a very expensive product. And even then, depending on the complexity, they might still refuse, right? Basically what drop shipping is, most of those products are coming out of Asia, right? So you're shipping from Asia to Europe, to Canada, to the US, to Australia, right? The shipping fee there is already pretty substantial. So you have to have product that you can make enough margin and minus the shipping, right? You can't sell something for $5 when the shipping costs 20. When I had first come out to China, I looked into drop shipping. It was very popular. But I quickly realized that the only real way to do really successful drop shipping, at least at low volumes, 100, is to pick something very pricey, something that you can afford to squeeze a lot of margin out of, something that will pay for that shipping, right? People have come to expect free shipping. So if they're paying 800 bucks, they want to get it for free. The other thing is, you know, if you're gonna drop ship or sell on Amazon, you just got to do the work. You got to do the research. You got to find good products, right? Doing a custom product and you're not willing to do 100, it's not going to happen, right? You have to be willing to take the risk. If you're not, and it's a cheap product too, I would say that this is definitely a no-go in terms of the path that you've laid out. All right, next question. Somebody wrote in and asked what an MVP, how to explain what an MVP is. So an MVP is a minimum viable product. And I think what people focus on or don't focus on too much is doing things simply and doing things really good, right? Steve Jobs always said, you know, pick something, make it do 3 things, and make sure those 3 things are perfect. An example of not that I'll share with you is the Coolest Cooler, right? This company, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. Back in 2014, I think, launched a cooler that did everything, right? Can bring your blended drinks, can play music, could charge your phone, it looked kind of cool on the surface. But the reality is when you try to do so much, you end up doing none of it good, right? And an analogy that I use often is no one wants to go to a restaurant that sells pizza and sushi, right? Pick something, make it your specialty, and be really good at it, right? I think MVP should really focus on what is your USP, right? What's your unique selling proposition? Pick what you want to do better than anybody in your industry, any of your competition, and make sure you do that, right? Then the extras, right? The casing, the packaging, that stuff doesn't need to be perfected. You need to find out first if people want your product, if your USP is interesting, if there's a market, if there's enough people that want to buy it. If they do it, and they do, then you start building out the rest of the product. So an MVP to me is focusing on what your USP is, focusing on doing a really great job with that, seeing if the market wants it, and then expanding and growing, right? Start small and then scale aggressively. Okay, and then the next question is, what does Morpho look for to determine the potential success in a new project? You know, execution is everything. We hear 100 ideas a month, right? Easily. I've seen incredible ideas do absolutely jack after launch, and I've seen bad ideas do really well after launch because of the execution. So we have a list of questionnaires. It's too long for this video. A questionnaire rather, with a list of questions. But you know, what is in place for your marketing team? How much money are you trying to spend? What kind of budget? What's your time frame look like? Who's on the team, right? How big's your team? Are you willing to commit to this full time, or are you just doing this part time? You know, with that last question, I don't want to commit to doing 100 apparel items, right? Well, the manufacturing cost of 100 apparel items is probably like $5 to $10 per. So we're talking $500 to $1,000. If you're not willing to commit, right, and that is as low end as it can be, right? If you're not willing to commit a decent chunk of change to your idea, are you going to be willing to commit a decent chunk of time, right? And so there's a lot of different variables that go into our selection process to see who will onboard. But I think the biggest thing, the priority that we look at is how prepared are these potential clients? What is the team made out of, right? Do they have USPs like I talked about in the early question, right? Are they doing something that the market hasn't seen, right? And that doesn't necessarily need to mean that they're inventing something crazy. It just needs to mean that they're doing something better than somebody else, right? I often think, you know, people say, well, someone's already doing that, I can't do that. When people are doing something that you have an idea for, they've already verified that there's a market, right? They've already proven that there's people willing to buy that product. So all you have to do is figure out how to do what they're doing wrong and figure out how to do it better. So that, you know, it all kind of goes back to the MVP. It all kind of goes back to the idea, the dedication of the team, and really just how much does this team or this individual, what kind of grip do they have on their idea? If they have a solid one and they have the budget to move forward, that's the type of people that we usually look to onboard.